So today we're going to be going over a few easy tips that you can start to do to get better at skateboarding, especially if you're a beginner or if you've been skating for a long time and you just haven't really gotten any better. So I've been skateboarding for about 10 years now, which is pretty crazy for me to even think about. And honestly, I'm really not that good for someone who's been skating as long as I have. But over the years, I've noticed that there's a few habits that whenever I incorporate them into my skateboarding, I tend to see periods of progression versus times whenever I don't do them where I kind of plateau or maybe even get a little worse. So don't feel like that these are hard set rules that you have to follow. These are just a few tips that I've noticed that over the years help me get better at skateboarding. So one of my biggest tips for getting better at skateboarding is one that I feel like isn't talked about enough, and that's just having fresh gear. So what I mean by this is mostly just having a fresh board and fresh shoes. Obviously, wheels, trucks, bearings, hardware, all of that plays a factor, but I think the main two things that you need are good shoes and a good board. Now, there's a saying out there that a bad worksman always blames his tools, and essentially what that means is if you're bad at something, you'll just blame whatever it is that you're using, and I think there's some truth to that, but also at the same time, I think that having a fresh board and fresh shoes really does make a difference. Now, I'm not saying that you need fresh shoes every month or a fresh board every week, but I have noticed that whenever I'm skating a fresh board and fresh shoes, I tend to learn more than whenever I'm skating the same board and the same shoes for months. Now, some people just don't go through boards and shoes as quickly as others, but if you're skating a board that has razor tail and it's all chipped up and you're skating shoes that have more shoe goo than actual shoe material, then just spend the $60 and get a new pair of shoes or get a new board. Again, you don't have to be skating fresh stuff all the time to get better, but I have noticed that at least for me, it does make a difference. So another tip that I have for getting better at skateboarding is going to seem pretty self-evident, but that's just skateboarding more. I know it's kind of common sense, but if you're only skating once or twice a month, then it's going to be a lot harder to get better than if you're skating every single day. I promise you that all the 6-year-olds you see out in California board sliding 12-stair rails, they're skating at least 5 days a week, if not every single day. Now, I'm not saying that you need to skate every single day to get better, but definitely the more you skate, the better you're gonna get. And that kind of goes with everything. The more you do something, the better you're gonna get at it. So you don't have to skate every single day to get better, but definitely try to skate as much as you can. For me, I work full time and I still skate 2 to 3 days a week. And I find that that's just enough to kind of maintain my skill level and if not, maybe learn a trick here and there. But if you really do want to get better, then you need to be skating as much as you can. Obviously, this can be kind of hard for some people. Maybe you don't have a car or maybe you live in an area where the weather's just bad. But really, I mean, you just got to find a way to make it work, whether that be skating in your garage or just skating in the street out in front of your house. I guarantee that there's always some way that you can find to skate. And if you really want to get better at skateboarding, then you'll find a way to do it. So one of the biggest tips that I have for getting better at skateboarding is making a trick list. So this is a problem that I've always had over the years. I'll go to the skate park and I'll be so hyped to skate, but I just can't think of anything to try. And then later on in the week, I'll just be doing something random or I'll be trying to fall asleep and I'll think of a ton of tricks that I want to learn. And then the next time I skate, I just can't really think of anything new to try. So there's a few reasons why keeping a trick list can help you get better at skating. For me, I find that it makes it much easier to not have to think about what I'm gonna skate that day. I know that whenever I show up to the skate spot or the skate park, that there's already a few tricks that I have in mind. And also, I find that it kind of just holds me accountable. So if there's a trick that's been on my list for a few months, I either need to just delete it off the list or I need to take the time and just learn the trick. I really feel like this is one of the best things that you can do to get better at skateboarding. If I don't keep a trick list, then I kind of just end up doing the same tricks over and over. I'll kind of build a routine that I do whenever I go to the skate park. I'll do the same tricks on the same spots and the same obstacles. Keeping a trick list forces me to either skate new things or at least try new stuff on the things that I like to skate. I just find that if I'm not making a conscious effort to skate new stuff or at least try new things, then I just kind of go back to the default of doing the same tricks over and over. And even though that will help you get better at the tricks that you're doing, you're definitely going to start to plateau after a while and you're not going to learn anything new. I did that first try, I'm so stoked. So one of the easiest tips that I have for getting better at skateboarding is to get a clip every single time you skate. Now there's a few reasons why this helps you get better at skateboarding. To start off with, it just allows you to see what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right. If you're skating with someone else, sometimes they can tell you what you're doing wrong, but they don't always know, and sometimes it can just help to see for yourself. Also, I feel like getting a clip every time you skate just gives you a sense of accountability. Naturally, you're gonna wanna do better tricks, you're gonna wanna do them cleaner, and you're gonna wanna do new tricks. If you're constantly filming, then you're gonna constantly be working towards getting better at skateboarding. And also, it'll help you just get a better perspective of your skateboarding in general. You're gonna notice if you do the same tricks, you're gonna notice if you make the same mistakes whenever you're skating, and it's gonna help you kind of notice patterns that you might not notice otherwise. Now, I do wanna say that skateboarding isn't all about getting clips. I just think that making sure that you film every time you skate just gives you a better sense of the habits that you have whenever you're skating, and it also just gives you something to work towards. I just sat down in wet grass. Now my butt's all wet. So another tip that I have for getting better at skateboarding is to try to skate with friends more. I find that whenever I skate by myself, there are benefits. I can skate the same thing for hours and really practice certain tricks that I want to learn. And I'm not pressured to go to a different park or go to a different spot. But at the same time, whenever I skate with friends, I find that I try new things because they skate things that I wouldn't normally skate. And also, you kind of just feed off of each other. So whenever they do a trick, you're gonna wanna do a trick and back them up. And naturally, you're also gonna push each other to learn new tricks and to try to get tricks better. It might not seem like skating with other people would make that big of a difference, but I promise you, if you skate with your friends more, you're gonna progress a lot faster than if you just skated by yourself. So that just about does it for this video. I hope these tips help you get better at skateboarding, and if not, then I'm sorry.